It's Saturday, June the 18th, 2022 at 6:01 a.m. here locally in southern Arizona. The queerest thing just happened, and I decided to post it as a separate video from the one HP's Diary Cast number 44 that will be coming out probably sometime later today. I've been preparing for that Diary Cast since yesterday at approximately noon, and had no idea until I really got into it all the research and clips and material I would have to review, capture, and plan out how I was going to present. Because as the week unfolded, none of this really fell into a timeline, let's say. It all happened and I was aware of it all, but when I really started looking at it from the perspective of trying to present some of it, if not all of it, in a diary cast, the magnitude of it became prevalent. That you will discover when I find a way to record that diary cast here shortly this morning. However, this morning let me look at my calendar, at what looks like was, and I'm not going to edit any of this, it looks like it was at about 3 a.m. I had a calendar entry pop up called Aqua 17 Bonus 1. What I do every month is listen to or watch Sasha Bonason's readings for Aquarius for the month to come. He's really good about giving exact dates when things are supposed to occur. Because I have had the craziest things happen when I've calendared these going back years now, prior to even the summer of 2018, that I do it just as a matter of habit. It's part of my routine because I find it fun and curious to see if these things occur. And I would say 99.5% of the time they happen. They may not happen on the exact date, or if the casual listener would view it, they may think it's talking about a person when in fact it's talking about an experience or something otherworldly that's intangible. However, with that in mind, this pop-up comes up and I listen to the link, and I also want to mention that it begins, the dates are referenced at 44 seconds in. That's, if you look at my notes here that I'm going to show in a moment, that's exactly where it begins. And this will be Diary Cast number 44. And the number 44 has extreme significance for me, both as a number that represents what I refer to as home, Hiraeth, which is, the TheOneHiraethProject, home, a place that you yearn for, you long for, that may never have been, and this entry. Now, I'm sharing all of my notes, including those that are unrelated that I posted yesterday, because I am having this pop up every day during the period of time that Sasha references that these events may occur, the 17th through the 22nd. So yesterday was the 17th, and I made a note. This morning when I started watching it again, I made a separate note because I realized that my original note did not take into consideration as powerfully as it did this morning that whoever this person of authority is that Sasha is referring to is someone that I am not directly related to, and that they're going to say something to me that will help me, quote, open a door that was closed for a long time. Well, I actually wrote those words down because they popped out for me. And what I do is I put these notes right on my calendar entry, and then I forget about them, and my calendar is riddled with these that I never go back to, but sometimes I do. It might be months later or years later when a date pops back up, and I usually go through a practice when I'm trying to relate something that's happening in present day with something that may have happened in the past. I go through my inbox, my sent box, my calendar, my file folders on my computer, those that are archived, posts that I put up socially, things like that, to figure out what was I doing at that time, who was I communicating with, what was on my mind, what was I experiencing. Because with these notes, I have been able to have numerous aha moments like, oh my gosh. And it helps me on my spiritual journey to kind of put all the puzzle pieces together. That's why you see such copious notes here, even though it's in a calendar entry that most would think you would never go back to. Then, after I watched Sasha's reading,
that person of an authority that is not directly connected to you, it's going to play a huge role, because through that person you will be able to open the door that were closed for a long time. And in itself, this person is going to really make you think, it's going to really make you wonder, and especially in the period and the stage in between the 17th and the 22nd of June 2022. This is when this situation is going to take place. For some reason, that person is kind of gonna remind you of your past. It's gonna remind you of something very specific and very significant when it comes to your past, and that is going to start a process of a little nostalgia. And this in itself, it's exactly what it needs to happen, because exactly at that moment in time you will not even realize that the process is change is about to start. By the time you get to the last 7 days of June, you are gonna be facing one of the most important parts of your lives.
I went back to the last piece of research I had to fully consume before I began recording this week's diary cast. And that was an article posted to space.com entitled Tachyons, Facts About These Faster Than Light Particles, written by Robert Lee. Now, as you'll hear when you review TheOneHiraethProject's Diary Cast 44, tachyons came into my experience at just after, like 1:30, just prior to 2 o'clock in the morning. And I know that because of some screen captures that I took at the time. But I had to go to bed because I had an early tarot class online at 8 a.m. here locally, and I knew that if I stayed up and kept watching this and then let my mind roll and took notes and did more research, all of a sudden I'd only get an hour or two of sleep, and I didn't feel that that was a fair way to make myself available to this class, both for myself and for the instructor who put so much into it. So I forced myself to go to sleep, but I took these screenshots of information regarding tachyons because I felt it had huge significance in my understanding of an experience that I had in Lismore, New South Wales in December of 2016. I read the first part of this article on Sunday morning, but again, as I said, I had that class and I never went back to it, but I did post it as a link on the Facebook page for the TheOneHiraethProject because it was so powerful to me at the time, knowing that I hadn't read it all and that I would finish it sometime before I had to record the diary cast. Well, that was this morning. Now, I know I'm outside the diary cast period, but who cares? You know, it's related. So here I am reading through this article. I'm probably just past the halfway point. And in a section called Tachyons Paradoxes, there is a short one-line, one-sentence paragraph that reads, "So not only do tachyons violate causality in every frame, they, quote, open the door, end quote, to severe logical paradoxes." Open the door. So now my note regarding Sasha's pop-up this morning that referenced I would come in contact with someone on the 18th, which is today, or maybe he said the 17th, but anyway, it's the 18th. And I made note this morning that it was, I felt, more likely Robert Lee than the others that I had mentioned, simply because of him not being someone that I actually know, but being a person of authority, and then going back to this last bit of research and finding that exact phrase. If you knew the rest of what happened this week, you would be as moved as I am at this moment. So I'm leaving this with you. You will find in the description section for this post a link to this space.com article by Robert Lee. You will find a link to Sasha's Aquarius reading for June of 2022. That goes directly to the part that was in my calendar entry. And I will leave it to you to deduce for yourself whether or not you feel there is more.